Hey, what's good? Thanks for hopping in the car with Christian Addiction Recovery, the channel where like minded individuals that face similar struggles can come so that we can learn and discuss new ways to live our best life possible and overall become the best versions of ourselves. I lived with depression for over 2 decades, but recently, in the last 2 years of living in recovery, I have discovered a life that is more amazing than anything that I could have imagined. And the reason why I started this channel is so that I might be able to impart to you some of the wisdom that I have obtained from all of my mistakes. And possibly you won't have to experience the same struggles that I did. And this life that I have found is so amazing. But I'll be the first to tell you, it is a lot of work. You know, in life, rewards come after something difficult. And the way our minds work is no different. I try to challenge myself a great deal, and in turn, I live a very rewarding life. But I find that the more I grow, the more joy I find in doing these things that are difficult because I know that they are rewarding. Today, I wanted to talk about religious spirits. And as I was getting the information together for the video, I realized that most likely this is going to be a 2 or 3 part series, as there are many different ways that religious spirits affect our lives as Christians. I recently let a religious spirit get inside of my thinking, and it started when I was watching YouTube. I was going through a lot of these Christian content creators that I follow, and I was noticing that a good amount of the creators spend a lot of time pointing out what others in the church are doing wrong. Now, don't get me wrong, of course, we are supposed to hold each other accountable, but I just think that publicly doing it on YouTube is not the way to go about it. However, me looking at those other YouTube creators saying that they're not doing it right is doing the exact same thing that I'm saying that they're doing wrong. And that is the religious spirit. And before I get into the religious spirit, I do want to point out that my buddy encouraged me and he said, "Hey, Matt, you have to understand that you don't know what God has called them to do in their ministry. God may very well be calling them to say this or say that." And I was humbled very quickly because I knew he was right. But that's what a religious spirit does. A religious spirit tries to come in and put rules and regulations and say, this is how God operates. And so by me analyzing their content and thinking about the ways that they were wrong or the ways that they were right, allowed that religious spirit into my thinking. And when that religious spirit got into my thinking, it started affecting other parts of my thought. A religious spirit will have us checking off the boxes to see if we're good enough. And the reason why we shouldn't do that is because it'll never be good enough. God is holy. So all we can do is give it our best and let God do the rest. That's what makes it good. God makes it good enough. But then I started going back and thinking about all of the advice that I had given to people over the last couple of years, wondering if what I had told them was the right thing or the wrong thing. And as I was thinking about all these things that I did, I took a note and it says, remember, we don't do, God does. But by me going back and thinking about what was said and questioning it, it's really me questioning that faith that I put in God doing his work through me. And it led me to start doubting a lot of things that had taken place in my life over the last couple of years. And there was no reason for that doubt. I am in a better relationship with God than I ever thought any human being could have. I have a amount of contentment and joy and peace that I didn't think another human being could have. In fact, I don't think I do it justice at all in my videos when I'm describing how incredible I feel, because it's amazing. But there's just so much my ego will let me express comfortably. The point is that we all have things in our life that we need to get rid of. But it's always real easy for us to point out the speck in someone else's eye. Meanwhile, there's the whole plank in our own eye. I'm not quite sure if you know that scripture, but I highly recommend you going to Matthew 5, 6, and 7. It's known as the Sermon on the Mount. And I've realized just recently that a good portion of this passage, especially in chapter 5, is dealing with religious spirits directly. You see, it goes through and it says, you've heard it said that it's a sin to murder a man. Well, he says, well, I say that if, here, let's just go to it. Here we go. This is the New Living Translation. So we're in Matthew 5, and we'll start with 20. But I warn you, unless your righteousness is better than the righteousness of the teachers of the religious law and the Pharisees, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. So basically, right there, he starts off by saying, all those guys that are saying that you need to do this and to that to get into heaven, they're not getting in. Because it's not about that. They have no real relationship with God. They have religion, but not relationship with God. And this is the part I was talking about. You have heard that our ancestors were told, you must not murder. If you commit murder, you are subject to judgment. But I say, even if you are angry with someone, you are subject to judgment. If you call someone an idiot, you are in danger of being brought before the court. And if you curse someone, you are in the danger of the fires of hell. Now down a little further in verse 27, it says, you have heard the commandments that says, you must not commit adultery. But I say, anyone who even looks at a woman with lust has already committed adultery with her in his heart. Then he goes on to say in verse 33, you have heard that our ancestors were told, you must not break your vows. You must carry out the vows you make to the Lord. But I say, do not make any vows. Do not say by heaven, because it is God's throne, and do not say by earth, because the earth is his footstool, and do not say by Jerusalem, for Jerusalem is the city of the great king. Do not even say by my head, for you can't turn one hair white or black, just a simple yes I will or no I won't. Anything beyond is from the evil one. And so lately I've just been realizing that Jesus' main point of the Sermon on the Mount was to say, hey, listen here, you all need me. You all need salvation. You're all messed up. Even you guys that think you know that you're doing the right thing. You're not doing the right thing. But again, it's about our relationship with our Father in heaven. And we can't have that relationship with God the way it's meant to be without Christ, without accepting his sacrifice and realizing that he died for us. There is a true freedom that is unparalleled anywhere else in this universe that comes when you've accepted Christ as your Savior and you've allowed his sacrifice to lift the burden of sin off of your life. And then some of us, like me, need for Christ to lift that burden off of our life. And then we also still need to work on our mental health. That's the thing that I never really got when I was growing up in church. I never really got the mental health aspect. I got the God will do everything for you, but I think I got it from kind of a lazy standpoint. It was more of a, God, you do everything for me because I don't want to do anything. But the more I develop my mental health in my Christian walk, the more I understand that a religious spirit has no part in God's plan. Because God is a God that customizes a will for your life in particular, a plan for you. And the religious spirit says that in order for you to have all the gifts that God gave me, you have to do what I did. And that is a lie. What you have to do is work on your relationship with God, develop a connection with him so that he can tell you what things that you need to remove from your life, so that he can show you the things that you in particular need to work on right now so that you can experience the fullness of joy. And the only way to get that relationship, my friends, is the only way you get relationship with anything. That's to spend time with God. That's to spend time with his Spirit in peace. That's to spend time with his word, reading the Bible, and then spending time in silence, meditating on what you just read and allowing God to reveal things to you. He will give you understanding that this world knows nothing about. And I'll be honest with you, I've known that you were supposed to read the Bible for a very long time, but I did not have the attention span for it. I mean, before I could barely just exist without having music on. So when it came to actually sitting down in silence and reading the Bible, it was almost not possible. It wasn't possible. It wasn't possible to do it in an effective way. And that's why mindfulness completely changed my life, is because when I started training the part of my brain that deals with attention, I was then able to put my attention on the Bible when I was reading it. And then I was able to put my attention on that quiet time that I was spending with God. That's how mindfulness radically changed my relationship with God. So as Christians, we have to watch this religious spirit of coming into our life and saying that this is the way that God is going to do it for somebody else, or that is the way that God is going to do it for somebody else. We can believe that God is going to do it for somebody else, but it's not up to us to figure out how God's going to do it for that other person. And I'm going to drop another video tomorrow that's going to deal with another very important aspect of how religious spirits affect our lives as Christians. And after I do, I'll come back and drop a link down in the description, so make sure you check that out as well. Hey, real quick, go ahead and smash that like for me one time. Smash it, smash the like, smash it. Okay, that's good stuff. All right, and then go ahead and comment below, informative, if you thought this message was informative. Right down below, crock of doo-doo. Or comment below, I wish I had more. That lets me know that I could have gone into more detail with the information that I provided in this video. Hey, and if you haven't, go ahead and subscribe real quick. Get that little red button. If it says subscribe, click it 1 time, 2 times, click it. Because check this out, I'm a new channel. I'm not going to be showing up in your suggested videos unless you've liked, commented, or subscribed. And the way we do it over here on this channel is I make the videos, I put in the work, you guys do the clicks. All right, we meet right here in the middle. I appreciate y'all sticking around to the end of the video. Peace.